Well, hello there. This is RJ Redden, and I am the host of the Bot Signal. Welcome, Grasshopper. So glad you're here. This is what we're talking about today. Algorithms have dominated the way that we act on the internet so much that I think we've forgotten how to have a conversation with a human. And there are three mistakes that traditional marketing shoves down our throats that we have to make all of the time. And I'm here to tell you we don't have to do that stuff anymore. I'm here to tell you there's a new sheriff in town, and it's called engagement. So, what are the mistakes that I'm talking about? And before that, there's this. If you don't know me, my name is RJ Redden, and entrepreneurs hire me to skyrocket their engagements because most have a heck of a time getting any traction online. They feel like they're shouting into a black hole, and many are a carbon copy of everyone else on the internet. So, I create epic engagement experiences that get people to click that button, connect with you, and convert like crazy. So, traditional marketing methods, if you're a fan, you know this. I'm not a fan of traditional marketing methods. I'm not. There are too many large social media platforms that are now dictating how we talk to each other. I'm not a huge fan. I'm just not a huge fan of that. I'm okay with a little rules here and there, but man, you've got to have this word, these words this many times in this paragraph, and then you've got to repeat it again in this paragraph. And you know what? I'm just, I don't want to do that. I don't want to write that way. For me, it's just not a great way to express myself. And that's what the internet was at the beginning, right? Was let's express ourselves. Let's, all of a sudden we had this broadcast format that we never had before. It made getting in front of people easy. When back a way long ago, of course, I wasn't alive then. I've heard this from a friend, but back a long time ago, in order to be seen or heard on any kind of broadcast, whether it would be television or radio, because that's all we had before the internet, you would have to either have a lot of money or know someone with some great connections or work very, 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 very hard to be noticed. And that's how you got other people to see you, to hear you. That's how you got other people to notice you. So then we had, boom, the internet, and we could publish stories. We could make videos. We could do all kinds of things to express ourselves in order to get noticed. Now, the major social networks have been, they kind of popped up and they've been slowly sort of dictating our behavior, and making rules. And as I've said many times, platforms should and can and should make their own rules. I'm not against that. What I'm against is the restriction down to this of what you can say or do in order to get noticed on the internet. Now, that's kind of a big topic. So let me narrow some stuff down for you. I got a list of 3 things here. These are common pitfalls that I'm seeing people make over and over and over again. Some of it's website oriented, some of it is email oriented, and some of it has to do with the last thing that I was talking about. So let's get to it. The first thing on my list today is the pop-up. People are encouraged to do this over and over. And because other marketers say to them, well, I put a pop-up on my site and I got 27,000 email addresses in an hour. They're kind of, they hype that stuff up. And it is, hey, if it's working for you, then cool. But people are getting tired of that. I know this, that when I pop over to read an article somewhere, and I've been on that site maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds, I have had an opportunity to maybe read the headline, and perhaps I'm a couple of sentences in, something pops over my field of vision, and I have got to click that thing away before I can read the rest of the article. Okay. You know what I do with those? I just close out of the website. I don't, and I know that a lot of people, will put their name and address, email in there if they're interested. I know that happens, and that's okay if you're collecting, stuff that way. But I want to share with you something that I saw. I do research and stuff for this show, and I was on a place called Marketing Insider Group the other day, and on their blog, they have a little bar at the top. Now, the bar at the top doesn't bother me at all. I kind of like it. And their bar at the top says, "We wouldn't insult your intelligence with 19 pop-ups on this page, so please read our blog content at ease and do share your thoughts in the comments." How beautiful is this? How beautiful is this? For me, that it calls attention, to the fact that we are creating an experience that we ourselves wouldn't want. Sometimes when we're putting pop-ups on websites, we are creating an experience that our pre-clients don't want. Think very, very carefully about your website when you're, and I know website design, that's not an easy job. I certainly used to build websites for quite a while there. I know it's not an easy job, but when you put something out there on the internet, be it a website, be it a social media post, be it a landing page, a bot, whatever it is, I want you to start thinking about the customer experience first. Here's the thing. Everybody, a lot of marketers, a lot of digital marketers, the same people that encourage you to put pop-ups on your website, a lot of them will kind of hype certain factors. You want to be found in Google. You want to be, all of these types of things coming down from that. For me, I really don't care if people find me on Google or not. Really. I have known people in the past who spent a lot of money on SEO. I used to have some friends who did that for a living. Here's the thing. Having random people find me is not the best introduction, actually. It's not. I want you to go to my website because you're interested in me, And if you see my name in a list and, all of these other things, I doubt that it's going to turn a head. But I will turn your head if you come to one of these. I will. That's the bottom line. I'm not writing for SEO. Now I'm getting distracted. I need to talk about pop-ups, but I'm not, I think of it like this, and this is a point of view, a perspective that will help you as well. I think of my digital properties, I guess you would call them, social media posts, blog posts, website, whatever I've got out there. I think of all of those things as me being a tour guide. I went across the sea one time, twice actually, and visited some European countries. And, you're going to get a tour. If you spent all that money and time to get there, you're going to get a tour. I had great tour guides and I had awful tour guides. But the one thing that the great ones had in common was that they would interrupt their own spiel to answer questions and get the people on the tour involved. All right? Otherwise, why not just have a recording there And the tour guides would never, they wouldn't pop something up in your way and go, I hear this commercial now. I mean, you didn't get on the bus and then go, oh God, I'm going to have to listen to a timeshare presentation. No, you got to hear about what you wanted to hear about. Sometimes you got to shape the conversation like we were talking about yesterday. Those tour guides adapted, the good ones, adapted to us as a group. They adapted. They didn't flash up, well, get this free white paper here. No. Think about it like you're a tour guide through your own stuff. Think about people who absolutely have no idea, have never been to this city before. You need to explain everything. You need to do it in a way that engages them. Pop-ups ain't it, baby. Pop-ups suck. There is one kind of pop-up I will do, incidentally. It's called the exit pop-up. When people are ready to leave a page, I will do an exit pop-up so that it just reminds people they get to see it again, whatever that call to action is. I will do those because I personally find those helpful. And I'm not stopping people reading my stuff. I'm not interrupting them 20 seconds in. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Teresa says, the fastest way to get me to leave your platform is to hit me with pop-ups. Yes. Yes. They're the tribbles of the internet. Star Trek fans will agree. Let's just take a sip of coffee because that's what I do when I stumble over my words. Enjoy. Anyway, that's my speech about pop-ups. There are better ways. If you are wanting to connect with people, there are better ways to do so. For instance, we talked about that top bar. Okay? You can totally have that there for them to, get subscribed. You can also, and I've seen this done poorly, I've seen this done well, but occasionally some websites will have something kind of slide in a little bit from the side. It's enough action to catch your attention, but it's not so much action that it actually stops you from what you want to do. We have to, in order to survive the next wave of marketing, we have to stop leading them around to what we want them to do and start being a tour guide. Start saying, okay, where do you want me to take you? What can I do for you along the way? It has to be oriented toward the people we want to reach and less oriented toward our sign-up goal for the month. Listen, if I'm going to one of these websites, I don't care what your sign-up goal of the month is. I just want to find out what's new in marketing, And these guys, these marketinginsidergroup.com, I did sign up for their newsletter and they didn't have anything pop up in front of my face. It was just this little box down there. And I'm like, I think I like these guys. They're pretty cool. I'd like to hear what they think. So creating this experience on your website, ultra cool. Okay. Something that slides in from the side maybe and doesn't block anything. That top bar at the top, an exit pop-up that fires when people are intending on leaving. Perfectly fine. And again, if you're doing something and it's working for you, I love you, keep doing it. But we must orient our marketing toward the people that are visiting, not orient it toward whatever goal we had for the day. All right. Second, all right, we talked about this one a little bit yesterday, but email blasts. Yeah. Even those with a catchy title. In fact, email blasts with a catchy title that actually gets me to read it, and I figure out, and it's a title that seems personal. The title of the email seems personal and directed at me, and then I start reading it, and it's just a blast. God. anything that is, if you're going to make it seem personal, make it actually as personal as you can. Gosh, I hate it. I hate being tricked is what I hate. I hate thinking that I'm going to read something that's directed toward me when it's really just, could you please take this survey? I think the title of the email this morning was, "You look like a real pro." Something like that. And then you get into the email and it's like, it's nothing about you. It's all about, could you tell me more about me? Now I'm ignoring you. Now you've made it to the unsubscribe portion of my email inbox. So here is, and I know that blasts are necessary for me. When I do my blasts, it's to everybody on my list, and it's kind of a, what's going on in the bot cave update. Okay. And it's a video, people, and ain't writing anymore. So what's the best way to use email? And we've talked about email a lot on the show, but when you are building your list, it's, some marketers act as if it's more important to know where that person came from. And that is important stuff to know, but I also like to know other things about people, because to me, there are much more important things to know, such as, what does that person value? What did they come here looking for? Do they have any questions? Those are the things that I'm looking for as a marketer. Where they came from, I absolutely take that information down, but that's not the end all be all of figuring out a marketing campaign. It's just not. So what I mean by segment your list is tag people, find out what they value, note that down in your system with tags. That's how you do it technically. And when you send email, send to specific categories of people. Send it to the people that have no experience in your field. Send it to the people who have beginner, intermediate experience. Categorize people. Point that piece. Every email is a chance at a further connection. For me, I get people's email addresses so that I can connect with them, not so that I can market to them, because no one likes to be marketed to. So when people are going through whatever you've got out there, when people are going through your tour, whether that's just a website or if it's a website and 1,000 landing pages or whatever you've got, think about that person on the other end of the screen. Think about the journey that they're taking, what that's telling you, because you get to design the journey. You get to design that. Think about what that journey is telling you. Categorize people so that they don't get every single thing that you send. Burnout. There have been people who have been friends of mine that I have unsubscribed from just because I can't stand to get the same email day after day after day. I don't care. I love you. Call me if you're doing something I should be a part of. I mean, this is what I've done, because it's so darn boring. Segment your list, send things that are actually valuable to the human beings, tweak and perfect that and serve them value. That is the way that you will stay in top of mind, not being in your darn inbox 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a week. Anyway, that was a rant, wasn't it, everybody? All right, I'm going to calm down. I'm just going to calm down. The third thing that I want to talk about is a little bit more, it's a little bit more generalized. I talked about pop-ups. That's websites. I've talked about email communication. That's one of the hooks that people use to reach out to people to connect. But this next thing that I'm going to talk about is more of a kind of an overview and a mindset and an attitude on how to look at what your marketing is doing. I know a lot of people right now, it's December 16th. By the way, everyone, the latest Expanse is coming out tonight on Amazon. If you haven't watched that series, do it. It's awesome. Anyway, A lot of people are doing their year-end kind of calculations. What has happened this year? What has not happened this year? What would you like to happen next year? You get to take a look at what's not working and what's working and what you would like to work, right? However you do that. And as you do that, I want you to think of this, that very often, in order to be seen and heard as people who are marketing a service or a product, as people who are marketing our businesses, in order to be seen and heard, we fall into line with whatever algorithm is out there dictating what you need to do to be seen and heard. I think that this is going too far. I think that it's just going too far. A long time ago, well, maybe it was a year or so, I can't remember. It's when I first joined StreamYard, because I had decided, I've streamed on Facebook for 5 years. It's ridiculous. I've streamed so long on that platform, and for me, the rules on what you can say and do are so restrictive, and they can demote your posts if they don't like what you're doing or saying. I mean, there's a lot of things that they can do, including just take your page away, which obviously hasn't happened to me at this point. But there's, and there's no law against it. That's their platform, that they can do what they want to do with it. And what I decided was that I wanted to stream my show in several places, so that it couldn't be shut down at any one source, and now I've got to go build a new audience over on this other platform. I wanted the show to be about what I want it to be about. And I wanted to be able to say what it is that I would like to say. Now, certainly within some boundaries, we're talking about engagement marketing. I mean, I certainly have some boundaries about what I talk about on the show, obviously, because internet's forever, babe. But I didn't want the show to be dictated around whatever nuance the algorithm was throwing at me, because I was changing it every single time. Okay, now we can't say this word, so I'm going to have to say this word in order to connect with people off of the show. Okay, well, now we can't say any of those words even related. Let me just print something across the top of the screen to get people to connect with me. Okay, now that's not working. Let's do this. And it was like, I just got to a point where I don't want to do that anymore. I want the show to be about me and the audience. And the platform that I'm reaching them on is less important than me serving my audience and how I make them feel. Revolutionary, right? So take that experience that I had. Look at what you're doing out there. Look at what kind of tour guide you're being through your own stuff. Are you being responsive to requests? Are you even asking if they have questions? All of these things are very, very important, my darlings. All of it's very important, always. Suppression is why I've decided to build a presence elsewhere. Absolutely. I don't get it. I don't want someone else dictating who should be my friend. I don't want someone else dictating those criteria for me anymore. It's a ridiculous notion. It's a ridiculous notion. But we never stop to think about it, because no matter what platform you're on, they're all guilty of this. It's a frog in boiling water syndrome. It's, hey, if you want the same kind of reach, you need to do the same. You can't say these things. You can't do these things. Okay. All right. I got you. But unless it's things like harassing people, you know what I mean? Then I don't believe that there needs to be so many rules about that. I just think it's ridiculous. So yeah, suppression is also why I moved, and I simulcast now in 6 different places you can watch me. And I'll get your little notes right here on the screen so that I can talk to you and talk back to your questions. So to me, the face palm of it all is when we start changing our methods to fit somebody else's idea of what you should be saying and what you should be doing. That's the loss. Do any of you go to those recipe sites? I do. My wife and I like to crock pot. We love it. You know what I mean? It's like you get so much out of it because the house smells good for 6 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, woo. That lights us up, okay? And so I will search for crock pot recipes online. And every single one of those sites, you can't get to the recipe without hearing about grandma on a snowy day in Connecticut with, I mean, like there's always this ultra long story, 17 pictures of the actual food that you're making. I'm like, can I just scroll down? And pop up. There's a lot of pop-ups on those sites as well. It's really pretty darn ridiculous. And it really is a pain in the butt. In fact, I will not go to one of those recipe sites on my phone because it's so hard to get around the pop-ups and all of that and just see the darn recipe. I got to iPad it. First world problems. But do you know why those recipe sites do that? It's not because they necessarily want to. It's because if you have a blog of any kind in the universe, Google will rank you better if you have what they call long form content. So it's not enough to have a cool recipe. It's not enough because there used to be a lot of short form content out there that was pretty much garbage. And Google said, we want to prioritize something that has a story to it. So that's why all of those blog writers and all of those, allrecipes.com and all of those people, that's why you've got to scroll through a mile of stuff you don't care about to get to the recipe. It's another example of how we change to fit the algorithm without necessarily even thinking about how it affects the people who are looking at our stuff. You know what I'm saying? So if you take away nothing else from this episode, take this away. I want you to create the journey through your products and services. I want you to create that first, and then maybe think about some things that you can do if you are interested in SEO. Great. I have friends who know that very well that I would love to refer you to. If you want to think about all of that, that's great stuff. But don't let someone else's idea of what you should be doing affect every single thing that you build out there. Because that's not even your marketing anymore. And that's why a lot of people don't feel confident about their marketing. They don't like it. I myself, before my website got a little brush up, thank you, Tom. And so now I'll actually send people there occasionally. But there for a while, I was like, no, you don't get to go to my website. Go to one of my bots. So anyway, so want you to think about that. I want you to take that away. Design the experience yourself. Look at algorithms. Of course, they're helpful, but make that little computer program secondary to what you want to provide and how you want to put yourself out there. Because honestly, if I can just do a little bit of let's just think about it for a second. Think about the last 5 years. If you've been in business 5 years, if you haven't been in business 5 years, cool. Just think about the time you've been. Notice the pattern of how people come to you and recognize what your strengths are. If it's getting yourself out there in digital media, great. If it's something else, though, those are equally as great. Referrals. People who know you giving you an intro to somebody that they think that could help you or that you can help them. Joint venture partnerships. I'm huge on those. There's a lot of opportunity out there besides just, can I make it to the top of the list in Google? My friends, my grasshoppers, my darlings, please know that there are a ton of opportunities out there to get your name out and to do many, many, many great things. And some of them don't have anything to do with that algorithm that we're all obsessed with. Google ain't the only way. Facebook ain't the only way. YouTube ain't the only way. It's just, that's the truth. And you need to know. So let me see. Yeah, right. And don't tell me which of my friends are most important for me to see. I got so tired of that. And you know what I did? The most important people I see, I make sure I see them and I make sure that I call them. And I make sure that I stay connected with them. And I don't use a major social media network to do it. I don't need you to rank my friends. Okay. Old school websites and blog. It's like going back in time. Oh, it absolutely is. I created products and services years ago, and I've been trying to move them, and that's how I found you. Oh, all right. Well, very good, darling. My podcast. Oh, so that's an example. That's an example of it. Okay, excellent. Yeah. You are the tour guide. You are the best source of information that brand new person has, and the way that you treat them will go a long way. Go a long way. So that's it for today. Just wanted to talk about that. Tomorrow we have a VIP, baby. We have Michelle Nedelec coming on, and she's going to hang out with us, grace us with her presence. She is a person who knows more about WordPress and Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft is one of those autoresponders. She knows more about that than I will ever know. And she is a very, very smart lady. So tune in tomorrow at 10 o'clock Central for that one. And on Friday, we're going to have our Friday wins. If you want to learn more mistakes, traditional marketing mistakes that you need to avoid and what you need to do instead, think about checking out my live event. It is coming up on January 14th. Link in the description. You know, I point up or down depending on where you're watching me right now. Link in the description there. And it's also here running across the bottom if you'd like. That Skyrocket Live is going to be filled with techniques. It's going to be filled with what you can do to do great marketing that engages people, connects you with the right people, and brings them into your circle. That's what we want. That's what we need. And that is the effect that workshop has. It's free. It's free. I want to get to know you. I want to get to know your business. It's also capped. We capped it at a certain number because we want a personal experience for everyone. So if you're going to get in. Just get in. I would love to have you. It is going to be a wonderful experience. And we'll talk. You'll walk out with a strategy about how to apply some of the basics of engagement marketing right away. So that's what I know for today. You are the best audience in the whole world. And I think you know that. Until I see you again tomorrow at 10 o'clock, hopefully. Stay safe out there and be kind. It's worth it. All right, grasshoppers. See you mañana.